What if the person who inspired your entire life suddenly disappeared forever? His isn't a fantasy anime filled with superpowers, demons, or giant battles, yet it manages to deliver one of the most devastating emotional experiences in anime. Today, we're diving into Look Back, the film that left audiences stunned and immediately searching for explanations of its ending. At its core, it's a story about two girls chasing the same dream, a friendship that changes everything, and a twist so heartbreaking that fans are still debating its meaning. Stick around, because you're not ready for where this journey goes. We begin with Fujino, an elementary school student who believes she's the best young artist around. Her comics are featured in the school newspaper, her classmates love her work, and she receives constant praise from teachers. Everything seems perfect until the school publishes artwork from another student named Kyomoto. The strange part is that nobody has ever seen Kyomoto because she's a shut-in who never attends school. When Fujino finally sees Kyomoto's drawings, her entire world changes. The artwork is incredible, filled with detailed backgrounds, professional-level perspective, and technical skill far beyond her own. Suddenly, the confidence she once had disappears. What makes this setup so brilliant is that the story isn't about defeating a villain, it's about confronting insecurity. Fujino experiences a feeling many people know all too well. Discovering someone whose talent makes you question your own abilities. Determined to improve, she spends years practicing, studying, and pushing herself harder than ever before. Despite all her effort, Fujino feels like she can never catch up. Eventually, she reaches a painful conclusion and gives up drawing altogether. Years of dedication seem wasted, but fate has other plans. One day, her teacher asks her to deliver Kyomoto's graduation certificate. It sounds like a simple errand, but it becomes the most important moment of her life. When Fujino arrives at Kyomoto's house, something unexpected happens. Kyomoto rushes out, overwhelmed with excitement and admiration. The mysterious artist whom Fujino viewed as her greatest rival turns out to be her biggest fan. In an instant, everything changes. Kyomoto reveals that Fujino's comics inspired her to start drawing in the first place. For years, each girl secretly admired the other while believing the other was superior. It's wholesome, awkward, and incredibly touching. The two soon decide to work together, and their partnership is perfect. Fujino excels at creating characters and telling stories, while Kyomoto's strength lies in detailed environments and backgrounds. Together, they become an unstoppable creative team. The film takes us through years of collaboration as they grow, improve, struggle, celebrate successes, and build a genuine friendship. One of the reasons Look Back resonates so deeply is its realism. There are no dramatic rivalries or exaggerated anime cliches. Instead, it focuses on two passionate young artists supporting each other while chasing a dream. Their friendship feels authentic because it mirrors real-life creative partnerships, making every success feel rewarding and every setback feel meaningful. As time passes, however, new opportunities arise. Kyomoto eventually decides she wants to attend art school. For most people, that wouldn't seem like a major challenge, but for someone who spent years isolated from society, it's a terrifying leap into the unknown. Art school means meeting strangers, stepping outside her comfort zone, and embracing a completely different life. Fujino supports her decision, but something subtle begins to change between them. The friendship that once seemed inseparable starts drifting apart, not because of an argument or betrayal, but because life moves forward. Their dreams take them in different directions, and the movie captures this gradual separation with heartbreaking honesty. It reminds us that sometimes friendships evolve, not because people stop caring, but because circumstances change. A quiet sadness begins to settle over the story, creating the feeling that something terrible is approaching. Then the film delivers its most devastating turn. An ordinary day suddenly becomes life-changing. The warm, nostalgic atmosphere shifts into something tense and unsettling. Without warning, tragedy strikes, and Fujino's world collapses. The person who inspired her growth, shared her dream, and believed in her through every challenge is suddenly gone. This moment hits with extraordinary force because the film spent so much time building a friendship that felt real. Viewers aren't reacting to a plot twist. They're grieving alongside Fujino. The animation becomes especially powerful here, using silence, empty spaces, and subtle visual storytelling to communicate loss in ways that words never could. As Fujino struggles to process her grief, the story takes an unexpected turn. She begins replaying memories and questioning the choices that led to this moment. The film introduces an alternate possibility, a reality where a small decision creates an entirely different future. Rather than presenting this as traditional science fiction, the movie frames it as something deeply emotional. It feels like the physical manifestation of regret, the human desire to imagine another outcome when faced with unbearable loss. Could things have been different? Could one choice have changed everything? Could fate itself have been rewritten? These questions drive the film into its final act and transform a personal tragedy into something universally relatable. The ending remains one of the most discussed aspects of Look Back. Many viewers interpret the alternate reality as a symbolic representation of Fujino processing grief. In this reading, the film visualizes the what-if scenarios that people often imagine after losing someone important. Others believe the alternate timeline may actually exist within the story's universe, suggesting that the film briefly reveals a parallel world where events unfolded differently. The brilliance of the ending is that it supports both interpretations. The clues are subtle enough to leave room for discussion while keeping the emotional core intact. Whether the alternate reality is literal or symbolic, the message remains the same. The people who shape our lives continue influencing us long after they're gone. One detail that many viewers overlook is the significance of the title itself. Look Back carries multiple meanings throughout the story. It refers to looking back on memories, looking back on friendships, and looking back on the decisions that define who we become. Most importantly, it encourages us to look back with gratitude rather than regret. By the time the credits roll, the film isn't really about loss anymore. It's about appreciating the connections that shape our lives and recognizing the impact we leave on others. In the end, Look Back is a deceptively simple story that explores creativity, friendship, ambition, grief, and the lasting influence of human connection. It proves that an anime doesn't need elaborate fantasy elements or world-ending stakes to leave a profound emotional impact. Few films manage to communicate so much with such restraint and sincerity. For emotional storytelling alone, it earns a strong 9.5 out of 10. If you've ever pursued a dream, admired someone's talent, experienced the pain of growing apart, or wondered how different life might have been if one choice had changed, Look Back will stay with you long after it ends. And perhaps that's the film's greatest achievement. It reminds us that while we can't change the past, we can choose how we remember it. What initially appears to be a simple story about friendship, loss, and regret reveals layers of hidden meaning through subtle details and emotional storytelling. Many scenes that seem ordinary during the first viewing become heartbreaking in hindsight. One of the film's most powerful themes is the relationship between inspiration and ambition. Although Fujino and Kyomoto initially appear to be rivals, the story gradually reveals that neither is trying to surpass the other. Instead, each girl's existence motivates the other to grow. Fujino pushes herself because of Kyomoto's talent, while Kyomoto begins drawing because she admires Fujino's work. Their friendship demonstrates how the people who inspire us often shape our lives more profoundly than we realize. Another reason the film resonates so deeply is its use of silence and subtle moments. Rather than relying on dramatic speeches or emotional monologues, Look Back communicates through small interactions, shared experiences, and quiet scenes. The movie encourages viewers to appreciate ordinary moments, reminding us that the memories we cherish most are often the simple times spent with people we care about. One of the biggest debates surrounding the film involves its alternate timeline. Some viewers interpret it as a symbolic representation of Fujino's grief and regret, visualizing the what-if scenarios that naturally arise after a tragedy. Others believe the alternate reality may genuinely exist within the story, presenting a parallel possibility where events unfold differently. Beyond its exploration of grief, Look Back also serves as a reflection on creativity and legacy. Drawing is more than a hobby for Fujino and Kyomoto. It is the language through which they communicate and leave lasting impressions on one another. In this way, art becomes a symbol of the enduring impact people can have on each other. Ultimately, Look Back is not just a story about two aspiring artists, but a meditation on life's defining moments. Its title takes on multiple meanings, encouraging us to look back not only at the past, but also at the people and experiences that have shaped who we are today.